Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode of our DevOps Fundamental series, we are diving into a new but essential concept, that is infrastructure as a code, or we can say IaC. If you have ever manually created servers or cloud resources, you know how tedious and error prone it can be. Today, we will simplify that process using Terraform, a powerful tool that lets you define infrastructure using code. And to keep things beginner friendly, we will deploy a basic EC2 instance on AWS with no complex networking, no Kubernetes, just the essentials to help you understand how IaC fits into the DevOps toolkit. In DevOps, automation is the key, not just for deploying applications, but also for provisioning the infrastructure they run on. Traditionally, setting up servers meant clicking through cloud dashboards, remembering settings, and hoping you didn't miss a step. That's not scalable. Infrastructure as a code solves this by letting you define your structures in files. These files can be version controlled, shared across teams, and reused in different environments. And when it comes to IaC tools, Terraform is the most widely adopted and beginner friendly. Terraform is a tool developed by HashiCorp that lets you define your infrastructure using a simple human readable called HCL. We can say it is basically the HashiCorp configuration language. It's declarative, which means you tell Terraform what you want and it figures out how to make it happen. Terraform uses providers to interact with cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, and GCP. It also maintains a state file that keeps tracks of what resources it has created so it knows what's already deployed and what needs to change. This makes infrastructure safe, predictable, and repeatable. Terraform follows a clean and predictable workflow. First, you write your infrastructure configuration in a .tf file. This is where you define resources like EC2 instances. Then you run Terraform init to to download the necessary provider plugins. Next, Terraform plans what you plans Terraform plan command shows you what Terraform is about to do. This is is kind of a dry run that helps you catch mistakes before anything is deployed. Finally, Terraform apply actually provisions the resources. This workflow ensures that your infrastructure changes are intentional, auditable, and repeatable. To keep things beginner friendly as possible, we are going to deploy a single EC2 instance using Terraform entirely from the browser using AWS CloudShell. That means no local setups, no CLI installation, and no SSH key management. We will use the default VPC and skip any custom networking or security group configurations because our goal is to focus purely on core Terraform workflows, writing a simple configuration, initializing Terraform, planning the deployment, and applying it. This project is perfect for understanding the basics of infrastructure as code without getting restricted by AWS specific complexities. It's clean, simple, and exactly what you need to build confidence with Terraform. Let's jump into the live demo and walk through entire process of deploying a EC2 instance using Terraform. Right using the browser using AWS CloudShell. We will start by launching CloudShell in the Mumbai region and installing Terraform using a version manager called TFENV. This gives us the latest stable version without needing to install anything locally. Next, we will create a new folder and write a minimal main.tf files. This file basically includes the AWS provider configuration and a single EC2 instance using a free tier eligible AMI and instance type. Once the configuration is ready, we will run three essential Terraform commands. First is Terraform init to initialize the project. Second is Terraform plan to preview the changes. And then third is Terraform apply to actually create the instance. Okay, so I'm into my console now. I have logged into the AWS console. First, make sure you are in the Mumbai AP South 1 region of the AWS Management Console. Click on the Cloud Shell icon to open a terminal. This is the Cloud Shell icon. Let's open this Cloud Shell in a separate tab, new browser tab, and click on Open AP South 1 environment so that it will create a new environment for us. So we will install Terraform. since it's not included by default here, if I run Terraform command here, you will see command not found. Okay, so to install Terraform, we will run some commands. First, we will basically use a tf-env repository as we said. So I will just run this command to clone the repository here. Once it is cloned, I will just echo the path. So I'm just setting the path for this. There are a couple of commands to install, and then perfect. Let's now install the stable version of Terraform using tf-env. So it should be installed. I will just say tf-env to use the latest. Perfect. So to confirm the installation, let's run Terraform version command. Great. So you can see Terraform is now installed. Now let's create a project folder and under our main configuration file. This script is as simple as it gets, using a valid EMI and T3 micro instance, which is eligible for free tier. So let's create a folder that is Terraform EC2 demo. I will switch into this directory. Perfect. Now let's create a file called main.tf, and I have opened this file in Vim editor. So I will press I to edit it and to into the insert mode and paste the following code that I have. So basically the only required parameters for the AWS instance are AMI and instance type. Let me just paste it first and then I will explain. Okay. So the only required parameters, as I said, is only this AMI and the instance type. We will also add a provider block to specify the region. Great. So once you have pasted the code, press escape and then colon WQ to save and press enter. Great. So we have now saved this file. With our simple configuration file ready, we can now initialize the initialize the Terraform and then plan and apply our infrastructure. So I will run the commands Terraform init to initialize. It's currently initializing the backend and the provider. Great. So the initialization is completed. Now I will run Terraform plan. So basically this will preview the resources that it is going to create. In plan it will not create, it will just preview me that there will be one to add, zero to change and zero to destroy. So there will be one resource that will get added or created, that is EC2 instance. Great. So now finally the last command is Terraform apply to deploy the resource. This will apply, but it will first ask for the confirmation. I will need to provide a yes to confirm. I will type yes and then press enter. Great. So now it is creating. So it will create a T3 micro instance within our AWS account. Let's quickly go back to the AWS account and verify. I will switch to the console and search for EC2. We'll go to the EC2 service, click on instances. Great. So you can see there's one instance that is running. It is currently initializing basically. So as soon as this, okay, so apply is complete, resource one added. Great. So the resource is now deployed. Perfect. So this is the instance that we had created just now. So the final and the most crucial step is to clean up our resources to avoid any unexpected charges. But it is free tier, so you won't be charged, but it is a best practice to delete the resources or destroy the resources. So that for that we have a command that is Terraform destroy. By mistake I closed the CloudShell. Let me just reopen that. Okay, so I'm back in my CloudShell environment. So I will type Terraform destroy to destroy the instance that we had created just now. It will list down what it is trying to destroy. As you can see, 1 to destroy and 0 to change, it is 0 to add. I will just type and yes, and then press enter to destroy this EC2 instance. So you can see it is destroying. I will switch back to the console and refresh. Okay, you can see there is no match on because it is shutting down. So great. In few minutes it will destroy it. So yeah, so the instance will be terminated and it will leave the AWS account just as we found. So today we use Terraform to deploy a basic EC2 instance on AWS. We saw how infrastructure can be defined in code, versioned, and deployed in just a few minutes, few commands. This is the essence of infrastructure as code. And while we kept things simple today, Terraform can manage entire AWS cloud environment from networking to databases to Kubernetes clusters. Learning Terraform is a foundational step in your DevOps journey, and it opens the door to more advanced automation and scalability. In our next video, we will move from provisioning infrastructure to managing it. We will introduce Ansible, which is a powerful configuration management tool that helps you automate software installations, updates, and system configuration across your multiple servers. If Terraform is about creating infrastructure, Ansible is about keeping it consistent and up to date. This is a key part of the DevOps lifecycle and it's essentially useful when managing fleets of servers. So make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that you won't miss that video. Thank you.